Hi, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again this week. Today, I want to talk about 3 reasons why we avoid noticing red flags when we're dating. I know I've been guilty of that. I'm sure you have, and I'm sure you have a lot of friends that have too. I've narrowed down about 3 reasons, 3 aspects that keep us in the same relationship, in the same dynamic, and unable to really walk away from something that isn't working for us. Number 1 is idealization and hope. This is something that we all have. We are innately conditioned to see the best in people usually. And what this creates is the foresight or the future tripping, or this is how they could be, this is their potential, and we tend to lose sight of reality. And there's parts of us that need to have that hope and idealization in our lives, but when it comes to evaluating what works in a relationship, we've got to be a lot more stringent on that. So I know I've been guilty of this, where I've been dating someone that actually is not really a great fit for me, but I see the potential, I see where they can go, they're thinking ahead, I like the way they say things, and quite honestly, at the end of the day, you really have to see how people are. How are they? How do they treat themselves? How do they treat you? How do they treat their family? How do they talk to people? These are all things that are really helpful in evaluating that we're not really taught to do. I always like to, and we talk about this a lot in dating, is being around other people's friends, being around their coworkers, being with their family. That's not necessarily you trying to integrate into their lives specifically. It's really to see how they interact. I always suggest putting yourself in multiple situations, as many situations as possible when you're early on dating people. That could be traveling, it could be things that you enjoy doing, your friends, things like that, because that will give you a real indication of how people are, just innately what their personality is in various situations. A lot of times when we're dating on the early side, or in general, you're paired up together, you're spending endless amounts of time together, just the two of you, and that is great. But getting some sense of how they are outside of that is very important, and you should be strategic about it. The other 2 things that that are real factors in avoiding red flags is having an emotional attachment and chemistry. We get so bombarded by chemistry. Our body takes over. We're attracted to these people or this person, and they're unlike anybody else. And, I just can't get enough of them. And there's, an emotional attachment that goes with that you assume that things about yourself are getting fulfilled. But in reality, it's just really chemistry and the ability to rationally look at things kind of goes out the window. So I'm not suggesting that you overlook chemistry, but what's your attachment to the chemistry? It's intoxicating, it's great, but when are you able to sort of pull back, look at how this person is outside of that? And I think that's the second aspect that we're really focusing on, is being able to sort of pause, take a step back, see how things are. Chemistry is great. I think chemistry is one of the through lines in most relationships, absolutely. But being dependent on that solely can be a little tough. And I think the third thing is the fear of losing the relationship. A lot of people stay together because they don't want to be alone. They don't want to be, by themselves making decisions. And coming from a single mom, I understand that more than anything. It is, the fear of not being loved, the fear of not being cared for and thought about and seen. it's hard. And so choosing that over the little bit of breadcrumbs or the aspects that this relationship is feeding you, again, it's the time to step away and say, what of these aspects that I want, what can I give to myself? And what is the relationship giving me? It's a great way to evaluate the need for this codependency or this connection. And I do want to talk a little bit about the fear of being alone. There is so much out there in the media and on social networks and in media in general that being alone is not positive. And for parts of your life, and mostly during the day, if you are not, if you don't have kids, if you're not working in an environment that is, working in the office, things like that, a lot of times you are by yourself. I know I find I'm by myself a lot because I work from home. I have a lifestyle business and a brand that, doesn't require me to be in a location. And so when you're by yourself, it doesn't mean that you have to be or you think about being lonely, but just shifting your perspective to understand that being alone is healthy. You're able to clean up some of your habits. You're able to fulfill things that you've always put on someone else's plate. It could have been a friend, it could be a partner, it could be a parent, or even your kids sometimes giving you the attention and the love that you're seeking. So I definitely encourage everyone that I work with, and in general, because it's something that I've done, is to lean into self-love for yourself so that all of these red flags that come up that you secretly, talk yourself out of, don't become a pattern and a habit. And if you find yourself really overlooking red flags all the time, it could be the second date, you could be 4 months into a relationship, 2 years into a relationship. It's about thinking of yourself, putting yourself first. I don't mean in a selfish way of taking advantage of other people, but really listening to yourself. When you know what you want, when you're clear and confident and have self-worth and self-value for yourself, you are much less likely to compromise and, be breadcrumbed and allow manipulation to happen. It's, I can say I definitely have had that in my life, and to be in that place when it's happening, it's very unstable. You don't know what's up, what's down, because you're not connected to yourself. So at the end of the day, if you're overlooking red flags, it is a time to really evaluate yourself, your values, what you're looking for, what you're going to tolerate, and also, what type of dynamic that you want. You get to decide, you get to choose. So don't settle for something that doesn't work for you. If you're loving what I'm giving you, please like and subscribe so you can get notifications. I'll be posting every single week. I also have a brand new workbook that just launched this week. It's called Realigning with Purpose, Life After Divorce. It's $47. There's a link in my bio. Check it out if you want to have sort of a place to, go every day or as much as you can to sort of get your thoughts down and really evaluate your life. It will be pretty life-changing. Take care.